بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful.
ألف لام.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Amin al-Najjar. Inshallah, I will be helping us, including myself, kind of identify between good and evil thoughts, identifying what the source of the evil thought may be, and what the solution to that particular thought should be. Wallahu a'lam, inshallah khair. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So, how do I know if it's a good or an evil thought? Usually these thoughts are split-second thoughts, on which usually there's a decision that falls depending on that thought. So, for example, like shaking another man's hand, should I shake his hands if he's a non-Muslim, should I not? These are very, very quick questions. So, the first thing you need to do is look in the Quran and the Sunnah. Is there anything in the Quran and Sunnah that pertains to that particular issue? If there is, there you go, you got your answer. It's either right or it's wrong. Same thing with, so the second best thing, if you don't remember anything from Quran and Sunnah, is to look at the Sahaba and see if they've done anything that pertains to that particular issue. And if so, again, you got an answer right there and then. Because Rasulullah told us that we can follow what they do as correct, right? So, say I do not remember anything that the Sahaba did that is about that issue. What do I do? Now you're in the guesstimating issue, you know, and that's some ulama call it istifta'ul qalb, and this is to kind of ask your heart if it feels right, if it doesn't. So usually, if something gets you excited, you know, your nafs is very excited to do, most likely it's an evil thought. Wallahu a'lam. And if you have something that makes you kind of lazy, heavy, like a question that, you know, should I pray qiyam? I will do it tomorrow. Then most likely it's good for you. But, you know, that's why your heart is yatakas, is very lazy towards that particular thing. And that's in the beginning stage of every mu'min, is nafsul ammara bisu. It's the nafs that asks you to do evil things. So that's why that's what that's built off. So now that we know an evil thought from a good thought, let's grab an evil thought and kind of figure out the sources of that, because depending on that, we'll inshallah be able to cure it. So there's three different sources. So that's the shaitan, your nafs, and Allah Azza wa Jal. So how do I distinguish between the sources of evil thought? So I have an evil thought. I ask myself, if you give yourself another even more evil thought, do you now feel more excited about that thing, or are you still kind of stuck on that particular evil thought? You know, if you present yourself with another more evil thought, right, and you accept it, most likely that's from the shaitan, because the shaitan couldn't care less what kind of evil thought you do, so long as it's what kind of evil act you do, so long as it is an evil act, right? Another stage is so say you present yourself with another evil act and your nafs is like, no, I don't care about that, I just want to do this, right? So most likely that's your nafs, because your nafs is very stubborn, right? It wants what it wants, and that's all it wants. Some of the ulama have compared the nafs to the same nafs of the himar, the donkey, right? You know, when he doesn't want to move anymore, he doesn't want to move. That's it. It's the end of the day. You can pull and tug all you want. He's going to stay there. So, and we'll talk about cures for that, inshallah. And the last one, rather, I should say one more point about that. The nafs is very, very stubborn, and the cure for it is the hardest of all, right? And if anything, that is the one that I struggle with the most, as well as some of my close friends. They tell me the same thing. So, Allah alam. But so the next point is from when it's from Allah Azza wa Jalla, and that's called istidraj. This is one of the scariest, even though it is partly the easiest one to solve, because all you have to do is tawbah. But it is the scariest, because that means that you are in danger, because Allah Azza wa Jalla is very angry at you. And this happens only in this particular scenario. It is when you do an evil deed and you feel zero remorse in your heart. Right? Your heart is so hardened to the point where you just don't feel wrong by doing this particular thing. You don't feel wrong by lying or whatever it may have been. And because you don't feel wrong, you don't go back to Allah and say, oh Allah, forgive me. So Allah Azza wa Jal feeds the fire more, right? And gives you more, a bigger evil thought, and a bigger evil thought. You'll go from lying to, God knows, I don't know, drinking, to killing someone, to Allah Azza wa Jal will keep feeding that fire until you make tawbah, right? So if you don't feel it in your heart, some of the Sahaba asked the Rasul, what do we do if we don't feel it? He said, fake it. try it. You know, if you can't cry, fake crying. It's not about you feeling it, it's about you'll get there, right? So you just need to understand that you're in a very, very dangerous situation, even though the solution is very quick, easy and quick. So now that we've identified evil thoughts from Allah Azza wa Jal, otherwise known as istidraj, and figured out how to cure them, we'll speak about the first two. The first two is, again, the shaitan or your nafs. For the shaitan is very easy. Shaitan is a khannas. It means he cowers away from Allah's mention anytime, right? So the easiest thing you can do with the shaitan is read Quran or read some hadith, right? And I don't mean go and read, just say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim and then it's supposed to magically poof go away. Not necessarily, you know. The Sahaba would read sometimes ajza, full juz, 2, 3 juz. It happened. Try to read one juz, just see what happens, right? If you read one juz and the thought go away, khalas, you won, alhamdulillah, because the shaitan just can't linger around that, right? So alhamdulillah, we figured out a very easy solution to the shaitan, and Allah Azza wa Jal himself says, inna kayd ash-shaytana kana da'ifa. The effect of shaitan is very weak, right? Allah Azza wa Jal made him that way, so it's very easy. The second one is the hardest one to get rid of. I'm currently dealing with this right now, and all you have to do with the nafs, even though the solution is easy, it just requires a lot of persistence and sabr, a lot of patience. So what do you do? What do you do with a donkey that won't listen to you, that won't budge? You lower the food supply and you increase the workload. Same for us. You lower the food supply and you increase the workload. What does that mean? Basically means try to fast more. Fast every Monday and Thursday. Did it work? No? Needs a little bit more work? How about this? Siyam Dawood. Fast like Dawood did every other day. Your nafs needs a little bit work, you know. Your nafs just won't budge. It's like a wild horse that's just trying to buck you off. Don't let it. Be persistent, right? So try fasting every other day. And while you're doing that, I want you to try and pray qiyam at night, you know. If you find your nafs is particularly persistent on a particular evil thought, all you have to do is fast or lower your food intake. Even if you find fasting is too hard of a step, work up to it, you know. Just lower your food intake. Leave a piece of bread on your plate, you know. And I don't mean leave it on your plate and then throw it away. Food shouldn't be thrown away. I mean just lower your food intake a little bit, but also increase your workload by maybe praying qiyam or something like that. Inshallah, that will help bend the will of your nafs, and inshallah you'll kind of regain control over yourself as opposed to your nafs controlling you. And inshallah, I know this was very, very quick, but inshallah that helped kind of arm us against evil thoughts and understanding what we can do with them. Inshallah, may Allah protect us and help us with this. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum.
مولاي صل وسلم